Alright, everybody. I'm back with my fourth and final installment of MLB preseason preview and predictions videos for 2021. And I'm going to cap this off by talking about the Boston Red Sox. Uh, over the last 9 years, what a real roller coaster the Houston Astros have been on, huh? And they finished dead last in 2012. They came in last place 2 straight years after winning the World Series in 2013. So, excuse me. So 2015 and 2014 they finished dead last. Yet they won the World Series in 2013. Um, they won the American League East in 2016 and 2017, but they ended up getting eliminated in the first round. Um, They won the World Series in 2018 after a 108 win regular season. In 2019, they dropped to 84 wins. In 2020, they trade Mookie Betts to the Los Angeles Dodgers, as well as David Price. They get lumped into the sign stealing accusations involving the Houston Astros from 2017 because Alex Cora was on the staff at the time. Alex Cora gets fired in the wake of things in the spring of 2020. They were terrible out of the gate last season, dropping to 6-18 after a 9-game losing streak. Their manager that they had just hired in that season ends up not coming back, and now Alex Cora is back. So, not even 12 and a half months or so after getting fired, whenever it was, Alex Cora is back at the helm and manager for the Boston Red Sox. Excuse me, if you can't come up with any other crazier concept for a figurative roller coaster ride for a franchise, I don't know what else it would be. But if you ask me, that's got to be one heck of a crazy trip, especially with what the Red Sox have gone through for the last 9 years. But on the other thing, though, a funny thing about the Red Sox last year is that, as bad as their record was, they could hit. And if you look at their stats with the American League last year, they led with a batting average of .265. They were third in the American League in on base percentage and slugging percentage, and this came with J.D. Martinez, for example, hitting .213, .291, and .389. And again, it was the first year. This was the first year without David Price and Mookie Betts, so they weren't that bad after the aforementioned 6-18 start, however, because they were actually the rest of the way they actually ended up going 18-18. So who knows what happens in a full 162 game season? But their pitching staff was a mess, such a mess to begin with. It would be silly to assume that they would have that they would have been a decent playoff team had they have made the postseason. But going into this season, I'm thinking to myself, can the offense keep on track while the pitchers get everything in order to combine with the presence of Alex Cora in order to try and get back into the postseason? Well, we're about to find out. Prediction number one: I predict the Boston Red Sox. They get things in gear and they end up going 82-80. Will that be enough to get to the postseason? I don't know. Because last year they ended up going 24-36. They placed fourth in the American League East and they missed the playoffs. I think in my 2020 video that I did about the Boston Red Sox, I predicted them to make the postseason. I was nowhere even close. But I think for the projected lineup from some of the things I've been reading recently, you're going to have Alex Verdugo, center fielder. He's going to be at number one. Shortstop, Xander Bogaerts at number 2. Rafael Devers, third baseman, number 3. J.D. Martinez, designated hitter at number 4. Christian Vasquez, the catcher, at number 5. Bobby Dahlbeck, or Dahlbeck, however you say his name. I think it's Dahlbeck. In the 6th spot, the first baseman. Hunter Renfroe, right fielder, at 7th. Franchi Cordero, left fielder, at 8th, and Enrique Hernandez, the second baseman, at ninth in the ninth spot. Um, maybe for the bench you have utility man Marwan Gonzalez, Christian Arroyo, and Kevin Plawecki, who's the first baseman and also a catcher. Michael Chavis could be in the mix up as well, one way or another. But especially with Franchi Cordero, he swings lefty while Arroyo is right-handed, and with Marwan Gonzalez being a switch hitter, there's a platoon option right there in left field for you. So that's going to be a big question. For the projected rotation in the bullpen, Eduardo Rodriguez, he's got to get the number one spot. Something tells me that he gets it. I haven't been paying attention to anything as far as in spring training, as far as breaking news, because I've been busy with other things. But I'm predicting Eduardo Rodriguez gets the number one spot in the lineup, or as far as the bullpen, excuse me. Nathan Eovaldi, right-handed pitcher, at number 2. Martin Perez, left-handed pitcher, number 3. Garrett Richards, right-hander, at 4. And then you have Nick Pivetta at 5, right-handed pitcher. But speaking of pitching, though, the biggest thing here, the way I see it, is the return of Chris Sale. I completely forgot about Chris Sale. You put an honorable mention for him, though. He ended up undergoing Tommy John surgery last March, so there's no chance that he's going to be around for either May or April. More likely, I predict sometime between July and September, the months where it's possible that he returns and he has an impact on the team. But let's say the Boston Red Sox are in the postseason race, and Chris Sale comes out firing on all cylinders, which I hope and believe he will. It'd be like adding an ace at the trade deadline without having to even give anything up. So, call it wishful thinking, optimism, pie in the sky, rose-colored glasses, whatever other variations of the figure of speech you want to use. That would be about it. But with Mookie Betts gone, with JD Martinez being in the middle, there's actually some, there's an offensive upside. There's plenty of punch and good potential here, in here for more. But on the other hand, it's a good chunk of the offense, is gone with Mookie Betts. I mean, I didn't want to see him go, but now with JD Martinez, he's a great player. But first of all, JD Martinez, he was, he's only heading to his age 33 season, and he's one of the guys who was actually vocal about losing video access last year. If you recall hearing anything as far as that goes. But, with in-game video access coming back, it's entirely possible that he bounces back with a season like how he did back in 2019. Batting average of .304, .383, .557, 105 RBIs, and 36 home runs. But, even what's even more underrated is Xander Bogaerts' left side made Devers. I mean, here's a little trivia note. Did you know that he led the majors in total bases in 2019 at the age of 22? Or that he had 201 hits, 54 doubles, 32 homers, 115 RBIs, and 129 runs that year? I didn't think so. How that line from a Red Sox player flies relatively under the radar, it befuddles me, to tell you the truth. But other than that, is there enough pitching? Is there enough pitching going on right now for the Red Sox? Things were so bad on this end in Boston last year that the Red Sox ended up using 16 different pitchers as starters in a COVID-19 shortened 60-game campaign. And 16 pitchers, is a lot for 162 games. And considering the fact that Eduardo Rodriguez and Chris Sale weren't even on the list, that's rather shocking to me. But Nathan Eovaldi's a wild card guy. I mean, I know the ability is there for him, but his career has literally been littered with inconsistencies and injuries. Excuse me. He was very solid last year in 9 starts, but he had a brutal ERA of 5.99 in 2019. So it's perhaps a deep playoff run hangover, if you want to call it that. But Nick Pivetta, on the other hand, he was great in 2 starts for the Red Sox last year after a very rough 3 outings for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's never been even an average big league guy, but it's possible that Boston nudges him into the territory as an acceptable 5th starter until Chris Sale comes back. The bottom line here, if I had to try and come up with one, try and sum everything up for you, there's a path to this being a very productive pitching staff if things break perfectly for the Red Sox, which I hope they do. But on the other hand, it's just as likely to be a complete meltdown and have everything just fall apart on you. I'd be willing to bet somewhere in the middle. Maybe things go upward. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. But the fate of the season, though, likely lies in which way they lean between the worst and best possible outcomes. And also, welcome back Alex Cora. I mean, the Boston Red Sox weren't the same without you. I mean, you were last year in 2019. You get fired in the spring of 2020, and now you're back in 2021. As far as I'm concerned, though, the Boston Red Sox should totally dismiss the 2020 season as something that just wasn't even really a season. On top of that, you don't even need to tell anyone else. Just sell it internally, and there are good reasons for that. It was only 60 games, and once you started to play better, the season was pretty much already over anyway. They couldn't use in-game video, and now they can again, so that's good. But the Boston Red Sox were without their 2 top pitchers. And by the end of the year, they should have both of them back. But on the other hand, we're still trying to adjust to life after Mookie Betts, David Price, injury history with Chris Sale as far as Tommy John surgery and a host of other things. Few teams needed to turn the page from 2020 more than the Boston Red Sox, in my opinion. And not only have they done that, they also have Alex Cora back in the dugout as their leader. And last time he took over, they ended up winning 108 games and were even barely challenged in the playoffs en route to a World Series championship. So, could this be, could the return of Alex Cora be one of the many things that the Boston Red Sox needed? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but with how much I know about this team and with how much I've been following them, it's a rather safe assumption to say, if you ask me. I think this is one of those. This is one of those things, the figurative fire under your butt that you need to help get yourself going. But on the other hand, this doesn't mean that they're automatically just going to be awesome again. Like an overnight sensation. Things literally happen overnight where all of a sudden we become one of the greatest teams in baseball. I don't think that's going to be. I mean, again, look at some of the things going on with the pitching situation. Baseball is it's a challenging game. Mental conditioning. You have to be physically fit for it, and if a good portion of the Boston Red Sox locker room believes that Alex Cora can bring with him the positive vibes and the energy and the leadership that he does, then things will turn out in the better for them. He's a very adept manager on top of all that, and in my opinion, it certainly feels like he's gonna make a difference. But outside of the Baltimore Orioles, though, the American League East is a rather tough division, and there's a true path to contention here for the offensive upside on the Boston Red Sox. A likely improved pitching staff and the return of Alex Cora in the dugout are key as well. So the way I see it, don't sleep on the Boston Red Sox as far as playoff contenders. I'm hoping they make the postseason, which would be great, but with with opening day being tomorrow. So, yeah, April Fool's Day is the start of baseball season, and with it right now being March 31st, we're getting closer and closer as the hours, minutes, and seconds tick away to opening day. So, with that being said, this concludes my 2021 MLB preseason preview and predictions videos. Let me know what you think about this video and the others that I've posted. Let me know what you think as far as how the Boston Red Sox are going to do. Give a thumbs up, drop a comment on the video. Subscribe to me on YouTube if you haven't already done so. Follow me on Instagram. Take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe. Be well. And in the meantime, keep an eye out for more content and check out some of the other videos that I've done previously. Give me your thoughts on those. And for those who have yet to subscribe to my page and or follow me on Instagram, please do so. I will return the favor. And that's about it. So have a good night. Talk to you guys later. I'm out. Have a good one.